Good morning everybody, we've got a wonderful day. Sorry, it's a road bike review. Better. Welcome you all. I want to welcome you also in the wonderful, amazing world of cycling, as we have so many different disciplines of cycling and so many different types of the bikes. And so today we've got a review of the Aerodynamic racing road bike, which is the Merida Reacto 6000. Now this bike I got 7 or 8 months ago, and it's been with me on the turbo trainer, on the road, on the better roads, on some rougher terrain, as I was also testing the Tannus airless tires. So it's now on the Tannus airless tires. It's not the stock one right now, just the tires. All the other stuff is stock. And so I can tell you how this bike really performs on the long-term test. From now on, all my reviews and tests will be done in different parts. Part number one will be the objective, so objective info about the bike. The number two will be subjective, so what I feel, how I feel on the bike, what kind of emotions also the bike is creating in me, because yes, cycling is a lot of emotions. And then third, I'm gonna always show you some comparison between the competitors' models. So this model against what's the competition. And finally, fourth, what type of cyclists, what kind of people should be considering buying the bike according to my test and my knowledge. The objective part. Merida Reacto 6000 means that we have a carbon frame, because all the 4-digit number means carbon, and 3-digit number like 300, 500 will be the alloy bike. So this is the carbon bike, and that means that we have the Ultegra components, full carbon fork, and let's look at the type of the carbon. Let me just remind you that this bike would cost about 2,500 euros, or it's, I think, just about $3,500. Here is our bike. So the frame is Di2 ready. It has the NACA fastback profile of the tubes. I'm going to show you that just in a second. And the carbon fiber is 2, so it's CF2. That's what you could see in the catalog. And that means it's the intermediate modules carbon fiber, so not the lightest one, because they also feature the CF4, and for Reacto model that would be the highest type of the carbon fiber frame. The CF2 model means that Merida has given you here a little bit more relaxed position, even though this is the Aero bike, comparing to the highest CF4 model. So the CF2 will be a little bit higher and a little bit shorter than the CF2. So CF2 will be lower and a bit longer. Very good approach. Why so? Just look at the guys. If you're just riding with a bunch of guys on the road bikes, on your Sunday rides, weekend rides, and so, how many guys and for how long are using the drop bars? They want to have their stem slammed down, no spacers here, because it looks cool. You are more aero, you are just faster. It's wrong, because you're not faster. You are getting tired much quicker. I'm able to ride very long on the drops on this bike because of this pretty high head tube. You can see how high it is. Plus I do have the 2 spacers here. I just left it like that. 1 spacer is above the stem. I didn't cut the steering tube. 2 spacers are below, and I'm loving it, because it is when you have the little bit higher handlebars and you ride on the drops, you can be more aero than having lower handlebars and riding right there at the top grip, or how should we call it, because you are more upright and you're not going to be that aero. The aerodynamic features. First off, we have really nicely done and shaped head tube, and the main tube here is getting just like larger, more oversized towards the fork, which has this shaping here at the back. And it just like slides inside the frame. This is really nice looking. This is probably more aero. First off, this is really nice looking. But thirdly, you should know, if you're riding on the muddy roads, so rainy, maybe UK guys, cheers to you. do not use any high pressure water because if the sand goes in between the fork and the frame, you will hear noises. So make sure this is clean. If you get the new bike, there will be some grease between the fork and the frame. Clean it. It has to be dry right there. I've been having no issues. As you can see from my tires, I have to ride on some dirty roads. So for me, it works pretty well. This is the Aero feature, looks nice. This is the NCA fastback profile. Tell me, do we call it NACA or just NCA? I haven't really found any info on that. But this is the fastback profile. So the front edge is not the edge even, surface of the tube is really round. Then of course the whole tube is very flat, and then here at the rear we have two edges, and this one is also flat. So it's not like a teardrop, it's different. This NACA fastback profile seems to be working well for the aerodynamic purpose, and it will save you some watts. The components on this bike is the Shimano Ultegra with just one little saving, and that's the cassette, because the cassette is the Shimano 105, also 11 speed. But the derailleurs, the crankset as well, the shifters and the brakes, so the calipers come from Shimano Ultegra group sets, which is nice. The thing I like the most about Ultegra is the rear derailleur in the shadow system with the stronger springs. The shifting gives you more feedback and it's more stable. So this is a real improvement. But as for the crankset, I would really ask the Shimano team to put at least more upshifting pins on the larger chainring, because shifting from smaller to larger, so from the lower gear to the higher gear on the crankset isn't really well. At this level should be much better. The wheels, I am so happy that Merida did not give us here just the Merida like comp or expert wheels, but the fulcrum. So it is something we know. This is the racing Aero. So it's like a mid-profile alloy rims. The wheels look very good, but this is high quality. I have never experienced any problems with Campagnolo and fulcrum wheels. These are like the same wheels. Never problems with chewing the wheels. I never had to chew I never had to touch the nipple. Of course, if you hit some bump, you have a crash, it might happen, but for just like overall training, these are very good quality wheels. I'm happy with these. We are still in the objective part. Now, is this bike comfortable? Of course, the speed is the number one. We're going to talk about it in a second, but is this bike comfortable? Geometry-wise, yes, but do not think that these types of tubes will give you some compliance. This is carbon, that's high-quality carbon, very well. But these huge tubes, and just look at the chain stays at the rear. These are huge, and you would not expect those to flex too much, really. The seat stays right here, these are flexed inwards, so in like towards the wheel, but I think it's more like a cosmetic and aero feature than the compliance vibration thing. So I would not expect this bike to be comfy. It will be considerably less comfortable than the Merida Scutura. And so we have to remember that if you want to make our aerodynamic bike comfy, that's the handlebars, it could be carbon, that's the bar tape, it could be thicker, that's the tires, of course. This bike comes with 25mm tires, which is good, but I think you could put 27 here, and the seat post. So we get the Aero seat post. It has the Aero profile, but this insert, this is like the elastomer insert. It does work. It does make the seat post flex, and now the tip of the saddle goes up a little bit then, but you can feel this is working. Again, it's not making the bike super compliant, but it will make you suffer less or just get tired less if you ride long on the bike. But this is the bike for the speed, not for comfort. Now there is one thing really badly made on this bike. I remember when I was picking up this bike from Merida, because I did it in person. I was in Germany. I looked at the bike, I liked it, but then I said, what is this? And you know, I wonder, how does it work that the engineers can spend so much time designing wonderful frame and then missing very important part, finishing it. So what I would do, I would make this part of the housing longer, this one shorter, because the routing there to the frame, to the down tube, very good. But this is horrible. If you had the carbon handlebars, you can even damage the carbon handlebars. So this is wrong. And if you already have the bike like that, if you buy the bike in the store, tell them to change the housing. They should do it for you. But if you already have the bike, I would at least have some protection on the handlebars. Maybe having some electrical tape. I think it would be okay to tape it a little bit here so that it won't rattle. Just make sure that you will still be able to use the barrel adjuster and this opening part for the rear brake. Because it's below the bottom bracket, you need to open it right here. But this is a shame. The subjective part. How do I like this bike? How do I feel on the bike? Well, I've been loving aerodynamic bikes for some time already, because these look more like badass, cool. I do like the look of the bike. This paint on the bike is pretty much like on my 96, which means that on some parts of the frame, the paint is transparent, so you can see the carbon fiber. On others, you can only see the paint over it. That's cool. The white, black, red colors, maybe these are not my colors. Not everything has to be green for me, but this is not the color I visually like the most. Otherwise, I like the bike, and also it makes really nice sound when you ride fast. It's different sound than the climbing road bike. You have larger profiles, you are more aero, but also the just like mid profile wheels make the bike sound really cool, and I'm loving it. Let's look at the competition. Let's jump to my computer for a second. This is our Merida Reacto 6000, pretty well balanced bike. And now we're going to compare this one to some of the competitors' offers. The first one is the Xeon CW Ultegra Di2. That's the bike I've made review on my channel about a year ago. This one now is on sale, so 2,400 euros. It's about $3,000 now, and this one comes with Ultegra Di2 components. So that's the main difference. In terms of the geometry, Merida will be one of the most comfortable bikes. This one will be much more aggressive, and this seat tube and seat post shows you that you can use this bike as a triathlon bike. It's more towards the triathlon even as just the racing aero bike. So that's the Xeon, interesting one. Then we have the specialized Venji Elite, $2,500 low profile rims, so you're gonna have to replace the wheels if you want to be really aero, and the 105 components. So a bit cheaper, but also you get less with this bike. I'm not sure about this top tube. Do you like this shaping, this curve here? Let me know in the comments. The next one is the Cougar 2018, the Quota Cougar. I just want to show you that such a brand exists. It is much more expensive than Merida. Also will be spec'd with the Ultegra. Even not Di2 will be much more expensive, but they do make some nice looking aero bikes. Finally, Trek and Scott, much more expensive. Trek Madone 9.0 starts with $4,000. So it is much more expensive, and nothing aero for $3,000. Nothing I could find on the website right here. Scott Foil 20, that would be the bike on the Ultegra. I found this one on Even Cycles for 3,000 pounds. So once more, much more expensive. I'm not sure about this cockpit. This stamp here looks to me like it was from some other bike, but the high quality frame, no question about that. Where does Reacto sit here?
In my opinion, very well balanced, one of the most comfortable bike in the CF2 version, so this one, the 6000 model, and price is also pretty well balanced, I would say.
Who should consider buying this one? Who should consider buying this bike, in my opinion? Well, everyone who loves speed, because this bike is made for speed. But I have one suggestion for you. If the Aero bike is going to be one of your few bikes, so maybe you have the road bike, climbing bike, you have the enduro bike or mountain bike, or maybe you are training more on the mountain bike, but you also don't want to miss out the pleasure of riding fast on the tarmac, then I would buy the alloy version. But if you're going to spend a lot of time on the bike, you are racing in the crits, you love the speed and you are getting stronger and stronger, there you go. These Ultegra components, fulcrum wheels, really nicely made frame, CF2 frame is awesome. If you're going pro, then CF4, but on that level, you're not spending your own money, do you? You have the sponsor, right? So if you are just spending the money from your wallet, CF2 for the guys who are going to ride a lot on the bike. For myself now, I have less and less time for the road bikes because now I'm racing more in the cross country and it's getting better. So for myself, I would buy the alloy version.